What's up, scholars? This devlog is going to be a little bit different. In the full game, Scholar of the Arcane Arts is going to have over 100 spells. I thought it might be fun to take a look at how many I've put in the game so far. So this video is going to cover the first 26 spells you'll find in the game. Let's go ahead and get started. Firewall. This spell shoots a fireball that explodes on contact with enemies and does damage which scales with power level. Flash Freeze. Freeze every enemy on screen for an amount of time that scales with power level. Tony's Burst. Spawn an amount of fireballs that scale with the power level. They will hunt random enemies, and the damage they do also scale with the power level. Rock Throw. This spell throws a rock that explodes on contact with enemies and does damage that scales with the power level. This spell can be combined with others. What I mean by that is that if this spell touches another spell that you've summoned, it changes its properties. In the case of Rock Throw, if it touches an ice wall, it would also freeze enemies. Water Sphere. This spell creates a giant sphere of water which will hone towards enemies. This spell can be combined with others. Tremor. Magically disrupt the ground in a straight line for an amount of damage that scales with the power level. This knocks the enemies back as well. Icicle. This spell drills past enemies, which does damage and freezes every enemy it goes through. Scattershot. Spawn an amount of scatter shots, which scale with power level, and they will hunt random targets dealing damage. These can also be combined with other spells. Firewall. This spell creates a wall of fire that can block projectiles and beams. Rock Wall. This spell creates pillars of rock that can block projectiles and beams. Seren's Falling Star. Call down a falling star. Fill up its energy meter with spells. Once the falling star's energy meter is maxed, it will change depending on what school of magic has hit the falling star the most. Ice Wall. This spell creates pillars of ice that blocks projectiles and beams. Hailsphere. Shoot a sphere of ice which spins and ejects hail around it. This spell can be combined with others. Smush. Spawn a little smush and it will follow you and it will heal you whenever you take damage. Its health points and the amount it heals you for scales with power level. Seren's Barrage. Launch an amount of fireballs that scale with power level, and each fireball does damage which also scales with power level. Flare. Spawn an amount of flares which scale with power level. These fiery sprites will charge a random enemy and explode, which deals damage and also ignites them. Deluge. Water rushes out and damages the first enemy it hits over time. Life Shield. Block spells with this shield to spawn fairies. Thorn Patch. Thorns spring out of the ground, damaging enemies in an area of effect. This spell can be combined with others. Ronin's Shield. Sand engulfs the scholar and protects them for an amount of time that scales with the power level. Mudball. This spell slows enemies and it hits for damage that scales with power level. It can be combined with other spells. Boulder Drill. Summon a boulder and drill it down for an amount of time that scales with power level. Each drill does damage that also scales with power level. This spell can be combined with others. Tar's Rock. This spell summons 4 boulders around you that will spin and block projectiles. After gaining momentum, they will fire one at a time. Tree of Hope. Summon the Tree of Hope. This tree loses health over time. The spells that you cast at it will interact with it and change what happens to the tree. Some spells heal it, some spells do damage to the tree, and some spells allow it to attack enemies around it. The next devlog is out in a month. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Don't forget to wishlist Scholar of the Arcane Arts. That way you get alerted when the game is released. And the demo's out, so try it out. That's it for now, scholars. See you soon.